welcome back to the games. Fleet carriers to be introduced to Elite Dangerous. Now, this got me very hyped. I've watched a lot of content from some of my favorite content creators like Obsidian Ant, and even Obsidian Ant has stated that there really is no confirming information from Frontier or Braben about fleet carriers, which brings about a very interesting discussion being had within the community. I wanted to talk to you guys about what perhaps fleet carriers are going to bring to Elite Dangerous. In my opinion, they are going to bring more danger, which is needed in the game. And what do I mean by that? What am I talking about? Well, first off, let me give you a brief synopsis of my history with the game. I love the immersive quality of Elite Dangerous. I love the audio. I love the connection to your ship. I love the scenery. I love pretty much most of the visual and audio aspects the game has, and that is what connected me to the game. But there is a very large lack of dangerous in the game, which is really what space is about to me. And first off, I'm not going to shit on other people's style of gameplay in this video. There is a large portion of people in the game that gravitate to this game because they like the scenery, because they like going from station to station. And in my opinion, the economy is not really giving you a true supply demand game mechanic. It is more story fed through Frontier community goals, getting people to do the labor, the industry, in terms of feeling like they're doing something. In these rudimentary A to B fetch quests missions really aren't amounting to a true economy within the games. You know, I get it, and it got very boring to me, that kind of style of gameplay. There are many people that love this style of gameplay. If you watch a lot of Elite Dangerous content in many content creators' videos that are engaged in PvP interactions, you will see a very split audience. You will see the portion that are craving it and are hungry for it because there is a lack of it in the game. As I said, there really is no dangerous in the game, which is why my series Bringing the Dangerous did so damn good, because people wanted to see PvP, and it is frowned upon in Elite Dangerous. In the community of Elite Dangerous, the major portion of those that play the game like to play the game as I stated previously, and there is nothing wrong with that style of gameplay. In fact, so much so that they have created Frontier a solo way to play the game so that you do not have to interact with other people, which is really counterintuitive to an MMO. Interesting that people want to play an online game in solo mode because they don't want to be bothered with people. That is the majority of people that play the game. I think those that really take the time to think about it will agree with me that most people don't want to be bothered by other people in the game, and that's the type of audience that Elite Dangerous has. There is nothing wrong with that. However, it is one of the reasons why the game is slowly dying. It is one of the reasons why the game itself, being an online experience, is not truly an online experience. People want, for the most part, to play a game where there is an element of danger, where in space something can happen to you. They aren't there just for the scenery. They're there to play with other people, to have not just PvP experiences, player versus player experiences, but also player with player, player to player interactions, P2P interactions with other players. And then we get back to fleet carriers. And when I heard about this, initially, obviously, a large ship in a game, everybody's going to get hyped up about, I can't wait to play this in this new carrier. Now I know personally, in my opinion, that these carriers are going to be a shit ton of money, so that not everybody is going to be able to own a carrier. That goes without saying. I think that's how they'll do it. I don't think they want to design it so that the price of these are going to be relatively cheap and everybody can own them. A lot of this is speculation because, as Obsidian Ant has said in his video, there is not a lot of information out there about that. And shame on Frontier and Braben. I'm sure they will release information as we move forward. But what I'm looking forward to is seeing what is going to be brought to the game Elite Dangerous through fleet carriers, and how these fleet carriers will change the dynamics. Perhaps it'll add the dynamic of the Dangerous. Perhaps it'll bring a little Dangerous back to a game that needs it. Perhaps it'll bring people back to the forefront who like PvP or player-to-player interactions, fleet ops, that will bring about a big change. And perhaps the reason why we don't have details confirmed, or very much of them confirmed by Frontier and Braben, is they are conflicted and thinking about what it is that they want from the game moving forward. Do they want to bring back a PvP element into the game and therefore chagrin many of those who are playing the game in their own style that they like, that is not focused towards the PvP? Are they going to bring back that type of element? Now, we know that the tournament CQC type of gameplay that Elite Dangerous tried to do is completely empty, and we know the CQC tournaments failed miserably. The audience was primarily those types of people that just like to chillax. They didn't want to fight one another, and it was very hard to find other people to play in the CQC tournaments. Another failure for Frontier and Braben to bring in a PvP audience. We also saw it with the faction release, I believe about 2.5 or so years ago, where they're introducing different types of factions. You can join them. And the thought from Frontier was that this type of faction mechanic wouldn't just be about the NPC, wouldn't just be about the grinding for missions, but would also involve kind of PvP warfare that would also get players to interact with one another. And there is a very big divide in the game right now, and what you will see is that the people that like to chillax won the movement, and that those that like to play, player versus player, got squeezed out because there was nobody else who liked to do it, and the game mechanics don't support player versus player. And faction mechanics tried to bring back an element to PvP, but didn't do it in such a manner where it really brought it back. The player versus player element was again kind of squashed down and pushed back away from the forefront of the game. And we see this happen a lot with Elite Dangerous. We see that portion of the audience gone or vacant, and therefore those types of people that like the player versus player aren't getting it from Elite Dangerous and aren't playing Elite Dangerous because the game does not cater towards that type of gameplay. And the game really needs a lot of people, that it is so open, that there are so many systems. It almost makes sense to me that there should be a very large playground, that there should be a very large way in which we can all get along, that there are people out there that won't mind being jacked by somebody who is giving you a dangerous experience. There are many of those that want that are like, wow, there's something actually happened to me in this game, and it wasn't NPC related. There are many out there that do want the Dangerous back, and I think the Dangerous adds spice, and I think fleet carriers in themselves may add something back to this game that is desperately missing, and that is the danger. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I can't wait to hear your opinions. I know most people watching me are Star Citizens, and there's this big Star Citizen Elite Dangerous rift, and there really shouldn't be. I think that's ridiculous. But I would like to hear your thoughts on fleet carriers, any information that you have on fleet carriers. And as always, it has been a pleasure, and I will see you on the next vid.